Hello everyone, this is a Six Traits project writing lesson video, and I'm your teacher Eric Busher. So our objectives today are identify what rhyme and prose looks like and sounds like in context, and also to identify how others model rhyme and prose to assist with your own writing. So what mentor text will we be using and what will we hope to perform? Well, first we're going to look at appeal, which is a critical part of selecting a mentor text. It has to be interesting. While picture books are typically made for children, there are some books that appeal to even adults. And what we hope to model specifically is I want the mentor text to model rhyme and prose. The idea is to select several texts to provide a variety and give the learners a variety of examples to emulate. So, what picture books would help learn rhyme and prose? Well, the first one I've selected is the Gashley Grum Tynes. So a simple alphabet book. It's written and illustrated with a dark sense of humor that appeals to most adults. It's from Chicago native Edward Gorey. The text models simple alphabetical rhymes with a short prose. It's ideal for students that are just beginning. It doesn't have a whole lot of difficult vocabulary. The rhymes are really simple. They're based on the alphabet. One rhyme leads into the next and they're set into pairs, so it's very simple and it's really easy to model after. The next book will be The Goblin Market, which I think is the greatest work of English literature and history. Why haven't you heard of Christina Rossetti? She's an awesome, awesome writer. She was alive during the Victorian era. She was a woman. This meant that she was not prominently showcased. She had a lot of difficulty trying to make her way into the literary realm, but she did leave behind some really important text, and most of them have a really good message behind them. So I think it's a great example. And finally, Monster Needs Your Vote. It's a solid choice for a picture book. It's interesting subject matter. It's relatable. And I think that if learners are struggling with the other rhyme and prose, this might be a good alternative to model after. It's simple, but it's more familiar of a rhyme scheme than most other books that you're going to come across. And the subject matter is relatable. It's about voting and civic duty, and I think everyone can relate to that. So here is a short video of me reading the Gashley Grum Tynes. And we'll go ahead and move on to the next slide. Rhyme and prose are hard, but much harder in a second language. So people tend to undersell just how difficult it is to write and rhyme and prose. Something as simple as a children's story is very hard to write in a first language and even more difficult in a second or a third language. So for non-native speakers, it's going to be very challenging, which is why we have some other texts that you can look at and try to model your writing after. So use of prose and rhyme in a second language is a high-level skill. It's not something that beginners can do. It is, however, a language skill that's useful, and if you're trying to learn another language and you want to present your writing as a native speaker or near native speaker, it's definitely a skill you're going to require. All right, so when Edward Gorey is practicing sentence fluency, his prose is linking one letter to whichever letter directly follows after it. Each page contains two sentences, and they're linked with a soft rhyme. He does this with the last letter of the sentence. However, if you look at the very next page, the rhyme does not carry over. It's a new rhyme after that. So it's only two letters. He'll take A and B, C and D, E and F. It's just a really simple short rhyme. Gorey's not attempting to hide his meaning here. His goal is to make a smooth sentence that people can understand. Aided with pictures and provided that maybe you're having difficulty with the vocabulary, you have pictures to refer to. It's very simple. The main focus, however, is of Gory's writing is to create an end of flow on a single page. So he's put A and B next to each other, C and D next to each other, because that is where the rhymes are. So every time you flip the page, you're starting a new rhyme, and it's a nice way to organize your rhyme and your prose, and it's very simple. So question, when Gory writes "N is for Neville, who died of ennui," why did he use that word when there's way more simple words to use? Question 2, while Prue trampled flat in a brawl is a simple and understandable statement, in order to keep the line fluid, he was forced on the next line to write "O is for olive, run through with an all." It's clear Gory wanted that all sound, but can you think of a better choice? Because there are plenty of better choices, and it's just a really curious rhyme to choose. It's not a common word in English. Maybe some engineers would know what an all is. Maybe people that do some manual labor or some produce things, that they might know what an all is, but most people they don't know what an all is. It's an uncommon word. So can you think of a better choice? And more questions. Consider the rhymes between the letters K and J. So K is for Kate, who was struck with an axe, but L is for Leo, who swallowed some tacks. Why are these two so different? What is Gory trying to say here? Do you see any differences? Was Kate struck with an axe by accident, or was that something that someone did to Kate? Do you think Leo swallowed tacks on purpose? Was that his goal? Or was this maybe an accident? And what other characters were harmed by someone else? Because there's not that many in this text, but it seems like just Kate. So here are my references, and thank you. Have a good evening.